welcome back to the stage, Dolly Dagger!
When you're a transvestite, you really do have to examine your sexuality very, very closely and have a very open mind. Now, I've never been attracted to men, more specifically cisgendered men. But that hasn't stopped me from jacking off occasionally, thinking about what having sex with one would be like. And whenever I did, I would never picture a face to go with the body. So I was fantasizing about the blank from Dick Tracy. Also, whenever I would fantasize about men, they would never speak. In my wildest sexual fantasies, men were silent. So I was also fantasizing about Harpo Marx as well. And of course, simply not being attracted to men wasn't the only reason that this curiosity remained unsatisfied for so long. You see, when I was a teenager, there was no such thing as toxic masculinity. It was just called masculinity. And it could be a very restricting thing. And if you betrayed your masculinity, suddenly you became a target. It could be the littlest thing that gave it away. I remember once in high school, these boys came up to me and told me to look at my fingernails. Yes, they were gonna judge me based on how I looked at my fingernails. So, as confused as I was, I went along with it and I looked at my fingernails like that. They weren't this color. But I looked at my fingernails like that. Now, apparently, that meant I was straight. Because I chose to look at my fingernails like this, that meant I was straight. And if I had looked at my fingernails like that, that would have meant I was gay. All this time, I thought being straight or gay meant something to do with who I was attracted to, but no, it's all in the fingernails, apparently. Now, over the years, I've managed to do away with many of the constraints that toxic masculinity can impose, as you might have guessed. And it's allowed me to express myself more freely and experience sex with a wide variety of different people. But for the longest time, I still had yet to experience any kind of sexual contact with a masculine, cisgendered man. And I didn't exactly struggle with this because men had no problem in making themselves unattractive to me. It was very easy for them to do. I recall I was invited to a New Year's Eve party at a friend's house, and I got dolled up for the occasion. And there was a guy there who I wasn't a big fan of to begin with, but he took one look at me in drag and he said, "Oh my God, I would so totally fuck you!" Yeah. Now, no offense if that's the kind of bedside manner that draws you in. But quite frankly, the crassness of it all made me want to puke. And I have found this attitude very typical in cisgendered men when trying to chat me up. So I figured that the circumstances surrounding the situation where I would find myself interested in having some sort of sexual contact with a masculine, cisgendered man are gonna have to be so astronomically perfect that it'll probably never happen. However, last November, that's November 2017 for those of you watching at home, last November, the stars and planets aligned perfectly. Yes, Venus was rising and Uranus was stretching. Grow up. I got a message on FetLife from this gorgeous, passable transvestite who lived out on the East Coast, who was coming into Portland, Oregon on business in a couple of weeks and wanted to know if I would like to get together and have a drink and see what happens. Now, I have no difficulty in being attracted to feminine people, so I said, sure, I would love to get together and have a drink, and I'm not gonna promise anything on the internet because I've learned my lesson, but I would love to see what happens. Then they tell me they're going to be traveling light and won't be bringing any of their makeup, girl clothes, or wigs. Would it be okay if they came as a man? The bitch got under my radar. And I thought, holy shit, this is a person I am attracted to, at least in a feminine form. This is a person who is not being creepy or disgusting, which I find refreshing. And most importantly of all, this person is going to be on the other side of the country very shortly afterwards. This is it. This is the one. So I said, sure, why not? You can take me out on a date. And I was so excited. I bought a new outfit for the occasion. This outfit, as a matter of fact, thank you. And I was so confident and so sure of myself. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I was going to put my hand on his thigh. Then I was going to lean in real close and whisper in his ear, let's go back to my place, where I would slip into something more comfortable. Ah, I feel refreshed. It's true. And I was ready. This was happening. When he got into town, he sent me a message asking if I wanted to see a picture of him as a man. Now, my knee-jerk response was to say, nah, that's okay, that's not important, but, yeah, it probably is kind of important now that I think about it. So sure, please send me a couple of pictures of yourself as a man. And he did. He looked like his picture belonged on the cover of some trashy novel that a cooking sherry guzzling housewife would read in the tub. Or perhaps his image should be airbrushed on the side of a van, wearing a loincloth and wielding a broadsword. And just like that, all of that confidence that I was feeling was gone. And I realized in that moment that being presented with the opportunity to cross the bridge between fantasy and reality can be a very intimidating thing. I started to freak out a little bit. A second ago, I was a coccicidal maniac, and now nothing. What was I gonna do? Was I gonna cancel on this guy? Could I even go through with this? And then I made myself breathe and calmly assessed the situation and assessed my feelings, and I realized that yes, being presented with the opportunity to cross the bridge between fantasy and reality can be a very intimidating thing, but it was as if I was standing on one side of the bridge, looking at the other side, going, that's something I've always wanted to do. I'll probably really enjoy myself. I might not do it. Which is kind of silly when you think of it like that. So I realized I should probably just focus on having a good time, having a lovely evening out, having a nice conversation with a new acquaintance, having a couple of drinks because I'll probably be a little nervous, and having no expectations beyond that. And a quiet calm enveloped me as I awaited the big night, which came a couple of days later. I was getting ready. I had just gotten off a long day at work, and I was in dire need of a Cosmo, when I got a text from him saying that he was incredibly sorry and incredibly embarrassed, but he was canceling. Now, I paraphrase when I say this, but apparently, he also was finding the bridge between fantasy and reality daunting. He profusely assured me that the problem was him and not me. I could find no fault in this logic. So I ordered a pizza, put on a mint face mask, and made very short work of a large bottle of wine. Now, I don't know why, but I sent him a text message, and I said, look, I know it looks like I have all the confidence in the world, but really, I've struggled with just as much as you have. He didn't respond. And I was depressed and pissed. I was depressed. Called up a friend of mine, and I told her what had happened. She said, welcome to being a woman. And I said, I just had to overcome so many mental obstacles in these last couple of days. I just don't know if I will ever be able to overcome them again. And she said, sweetie, we're kinky people. We always overcome. A couple of weeks later, I was at my favorite local sex club, the Velvet Rope, performing in a variety show. And after the show, I'd had a drink or 6. And I was still feeling kind of bummed about my date canceling on me, and I was considering going home when I saw a not unattractive fellow who was just about to get into the shower. And I thought to myself, dare I? And it dawned on me. The bridge between fantasy and reality is still there, but I'm the one that has to walk across it. Of course, it helps if somebody doesn't cancel on you, but nevertheless, without action on my part, I will never get to the other side. At least I knew he would be freshly showered. So I approached him, and I asked him if he minded if I watched him take a shower. He said he didn't mind that at all. After a while of watching him bathe, I asked him if he minded if I sucked his dick. He minded that even less. And so began my second performance of the evening. There I was, crossing the bridge between fantasy and reality on my knees, no less. And it was okay. It was okay. I didn't dislike it. I certainly had no regrets about it. He enjoyed it. He enjoyed it thoroughly. But the act itself just felt like no real big deal. And afterwards, I went to the bathroom, and my lipstick was around there. And I looked at myself, and I got a feeling that I wasn't expecting. I suddenly got an inflated sense of self-esteem. I had had reservations about doing this, but I still did it. And it did wonders for my confidence to know that I was in charge and not my anxieties. I suddenly felt like there were more things that I could do that I didn't think I could do before. Like I could participate in the Boston Marathon. I could get my PhD in psychology. I could run for Congress. Christ, I sucked a guy's dick. I could do anything. Okay, maybe not quite like that. But what I can say for sure is that suddenly I had fewer restrictions, and that was a very empowering feeling. And if there is a word of wisdom that I can impart to you through this ridiculous tale, it's that it is true what they say. You really do learn something new about yourself every time you open your mouth.